In England, we must therefore go into a national lockdown which is tough enough to contain this variant. Monday the 12th, I will be going to the pub myself and cautiously but irreversibly raising a pint of beer.
In this video, I want to get you super excited about the profits you can make from serviced accommodation. Now, you might think serviced accommodation is a risk. Is it a risk you're willing to take when the profits are so high? Let me show you one of my latest units. This unit is a property in Bakewell and it's a 4-bed detached house. And I want to show you some quick maths and how we worked out and how much money that's gonna earn. So let's get you started right now and let's show you some figures. First of all, what you need to do is work out the nightly rate in the area. So you can do this by looking at your competitors, looking at booking.com, Airbnb, work out, what the average rate of stay is. Bakewell was slightly challenging because we put something there that nobody's done before. We had a big 4-bed house with a hot tub. Now that doesn't exist in Bakewell. So what we did was we took the nearest competitor to us that had a beautiful house, 4 bedrooms, and we added extra for the hot tub. So we got a nightly rate in the peak season, so on peak, of £550, and off peak, which is your winter months where you haven't got as many people travelling and it is winter, of £400. So the first thing we do is we're going to average those to get an average nightly rate, and the average is £475. So that's my average nightly rate for the property. So people that book it will be paying that. The next thing I needed to look at is how many night stays am I doing? Am I going to let somebody have the property for 1 night? Am I going to enforce 2 nights, or am I going to enforce 3 nights? So I do a mixture of 2 and 3 nights because it's so hard with all the linen and laundry and just for that 1 night. I will rent it for 1 night, but if I rent it for 1 night, you're more looking at £900 to have it. So I'm going to do an average of 3 night stay, and this is going to help us work out some calculations now. So we've got £475 per night and we're going to average 3 nights. So let's just have a quick look. So in the normal serviced accommodation, most operators will tell you the average occupancy is about 80%. So 80% of the time your property will be booked. 80% in a month is 24 days. So let's put 24 days. Now we're literally just going to times this by my nightly rate and we're going to see what money it gives us. If my unit is average occupancy, 24 nights of the month it's booked, £11,400. Now that's gross profit, so obviously I've got costs, but we'll look at the costs in a minute. Now let's look at it. Worst case, I'm only full half the month. And potentially I might be only full half the month in the winter. So we've got 15 days times 475, and that will give us £7,425. So my best case is £11,400, my worst case £7,425. Now you're going, that looks good, Abby, like the money, but what about the costs? So let me break down some of the costs for you. This can be used for rent to rent, or if you've bought the property and you're going to rent it like I've bought this one. So what costs have we got? We have got rent/mortgage. Now this is going to be your biggest. And mine in Bakewell, because it's quite an expensive house, is £1,316. And it's per month. The next thing we need to think about is utilities. So your gas, electric, water, and I've got a hot tub. And I know because this is off my actual bill. So my utilities cost about £300 a month. That's mainly driven by the hot tub. The next thing you want to do is most people know about council tax. And I'm going to put /business rates. Serviced accommodation is a business. So you want to be on business rates, and then you want to be claiming small business rates relief, which means I pay 0. So the next thing we need to have a little look at after paying all these, so that's the basic of the house. I've also got insurance, and I think roughly mine's about £40 per month because I own the property. If you rent to rent it, it's slightly less. So the next thing we've got is housekeeping. So let's put housekeeping on here, because you will have what we call turns or changes, where the housekeepers will come in, clean, do all the linen and laundry, and do everything they need to do to get ready and prep the house for the next guest. Now, housekeeping can vary across the country. You're looking at a little 2-bed, 1-bed apartment, 30, 40 quid with laundry, right the way through to mine. So mine's a big 4-bed house, sleeps 9. I've got a hot tub that needs to be cleaned, and now I've got to do some extra COVID stuff. So my housekeeping is roughly about £150 per turn. Now, I rent my property out for 3 nights on average. So if we do 24 nights of the month, divided by 3, that gives me 8 stays. So I'm going to have 8 turns. So 8 times 150, what do we get? Equals 1,200 in housekeeping. The other thing we need to consider is like marketing costs. How are you going to get the guests to come and stay? Most people list their holiday cottage or corporate staycation property. They list it on booking.com or Airbnb. You've got Expedia, loads of different places you can list it. Now, the golden nugget is here. You want to get those direct bookings yourself. You don't want to go through the online travel agents because they charge you. So what we're going to do is we'll put online travel agent, and they're normally about 15%. But I'm going to put 10% here because I'm expecting direct bookings. Now, if I know I've got 8 stays a month, I can do 8 times 10% of my nightly rate. And we said my nightly rate is £475. So I'm going to do 8 times £47.50. Gives me £380. And we're doing all of this on 28 nights stay. So let's add that up. What have we got? So we've got the mortgage and rent at £1,316, plus £300 for my utilities, plus £40 for my insurance, plus £1,200 for my housekeeping, plus £380 for OTAs. The last thing I've not put on here is like maintenance. With service accommodation, you do get maintenance. You know, you're sometimes having to repaint, people accidentally pull door handles off. It's just minor stuff. Now, they can be charged to the guest, and that's fine. Or sometimes you might want to repaint, you might want to get some, nicer cushions. So I'm going to put some extra money in here for just general maintenance. I'm going to put an extra £300. So I'll put maintenance. Also for me, that might include grass cutting, window cleaning, plus £300. So my total costs are £3,536. Now, what have I made? Let's do 24 nights and 15 nights. And let's remind ourselves how much we've made. 11,424 nights. And your 15 nights, we've made 7,425. So at 24 nights, my net profit is going to be my 11,400 minus my costs, 3,536, £7,864 profit. Do you see that? Now, I'm not going to do 15 nights because I need to go up and work out the OTA costs and housekeeping costs again. But you get the picture, £7,864. Now, I've nailed that because I understood what I was looking for. I knew my area. I knew what type of properties went in Bakewell. I visited as a tourist. I'd done so many hours of research on booking.com, Airbnb. I'd spoke to local competitors. I'd spoke to local housekeeping firms. So I understand exactly what I was doing. So this is very, very rough cost, not accurate. And I have a massive spreadsheet that goes behind this. But these rookie errors in service accommodation can cost you that profit. So then it becomes huge risk if you don't get this right. For example, if you don't apply for your business rates and do that correctly, that's going to cost you. If you don't go with the right utility provider, that's going to be high. Can you imagine guests coming all the time using it? If you get these wrong, and if you get them out by £100, £200, that could be catastrophic for you. If you get these wrong, if you don't prep the property right, if it doesn't look good, if you don't have professional photos, there's so many things you can get wrong. And one of the biggest is for these online travel agents. If you don't get on them correctly, then not to talk about managing the guests. How do you talk to the guests? How do you know they're coming? How do you confirm their booking? How do you take the money? How do you then tell the cleaners to go? How do you then get the cleaners to prep what they need? welcome baskets, all of that jazz. So you really need to know what you're doing in serviced accommodation. And what I would say is, I feel like anybody can do this. I do it with rent-to-rent properties and with properties I own. I do it because I have spent time getting educated, getting the knowledge. So you can make crazy, seriously amounts of money from serviced accommodation. This is monthly. So you could be making this monthly with one unit, but you need to get that education and knowledge to get it right. So let's think about this year, the year of COVID or release from lockdown. What does that mean? Well, it's already been reported in several major newspapers that staycations are booming. Already places are booked out and can't take any more bookings. So that means for you, you'll get higher nightly rate and higher occupancy. So let's just assume that I don't do very well in after lockdown and I just stick on 80% occupancy. Now we're allowed to open from April this year. So if I look at results from May until December, that's 8 months, and I times this profit by 8 months, I am going to make an eye-watering £62,912 net profit. That is massive. Absolutely huge from the one property. Now, the great thing about this is people take these and they make them into SA businesses. They don't only run. Can you imagine now running 5 of these and getting 5 on your board or having 5 rent-to-rents? Serviced accommodation is seriously fabulous, great profits, but there's so many moving parts. You have to get it right and you have to be educated in it. And this is not sitting and watching YouTube and watching people do it. This is properly getting educated. For example, this is your guest. This is your property. So this is booking.com. This is your property. You've then got your cleaners coming in. Let me do the cleaners coming in to turn it around. And then you've got your next guests waiting to come on in. All of that takes some serious organisation, coordination. There's systems you need to put in place, processes. You know, how do you get this guest in? How do you get the rest of their money? How do you make sure they pay? How do you make sure they're not going to wreck your property? How do you going to make sure that they look after it, respect it, go away? How do you get them out and then the next guest in? How do you do all of this? And how do you do all of it, making it dog friendly, child friendly, free from COVID with the extra cleaning and hygiene rules, and then add in a hot tub. Lots of complication, lots of things going on. But you learn it once, you get it right once, you test your first property. Once you have that blueprint, you can go and go and go and go again. Serviced accommodation is awesome. It's one of my favourite strategies. And I'm off now because I need to go to the Lake District to get another one.